All right, here's an example like our project. I changed the numbers so that I can show you how to do the problem without doing the problem for you. So it says a surveyor finds that the face of a pyramid makes a 122-degree angle with the ground. So let me fill that in. This would be 122 degrees. From a point 80 meters from the base. Okay, so this would be 80 meters. The angle of elevation to the top is 34 degrees, so this angle here is 34 degrees. Which of the following correctly sets up the situation to solve for the length of xy? Now that means they are going to give you different situations to use, a multiple choice question. I'm going to just show you how we would set it up. Okay, so when faced with this situation, the first thing you would say is, well, it's not a right triangle, so I cannot use Pythagorean theorem. I can't use my trig ratios. Okay, but I could use either the law of sines or cosines. Which one do I use if I have two angles and the side between it? Well, anytime you have more than one angle, you automatically know you need to use the law of sines. Okay, if for cosines you either have no angles or just one angle. So I know that I need to use the law of sines, specifically because I have the situation of side, angle, side, or excuse me, that was the wrong letter, angle, side, angle. I have an angle, and the side between them, just like the order of my letters here, angle, side, angle. So I know I need to use the law of sines. For the law of sines, remember you write down an angle, okay, and then for that angle you do the side across from it. Well, I don't know that side, okay, and it's not the one that I'm looking for. Okay, here's an angle, the side across from it is the one I'm looking for, so that one I can use. Okay, so this first one, this 122-degree angle, I didn't want to use it in my law of sines because I don't know the number across from it, and that's not the side I'm looking for. I'm looking for the length of xy here, which goes with my 34-degree angle. So I write the sine of my angle, 34, over the length of the side across from it, which is my side xy, should be equal to the sine of another angle in the triangle over the side across from it. Well, I didn't want to use this angle right here. The reason being I don't know its measure for its side. I do know the measure of this side, but I don't know its angle. However, I can easily find out what that angle is because I have two of the three angles in the triangle, and I know that those three angles should add to be 180. So really quickly right here, I'm going to find out what that angle measure is, and then I can finish filling out my law of sines. I add the two angles I have so far, the 122 and the 34, and that gives me 156 degrees. So how many more degrees are left for that third angle to give us a total of 180? So I just subtract 156 from 180, and I get 24. So that tells me this angle here is 24 degrees, and now I can finish setting up my law of sines. So I had the sine of this 34-degree angle over the side across from it, my xy, should equal the sine of another angle, 24, I found out, over the length of the side across from it, which was a length of 80. Okay, so that's what I have so far. I would solve that, and if I solve that, I could find the length of xy. They didn't ask me to solve, they just asked me what would correctly set it up, and it would correctly set it up to use the law of sines, and this is what it would look like. Okay, question number 2. What is the length of xy? Okay, so for question 2, I'm going to go back and I'm going to solve that problem that I set up. Okay, so question number 2 wants me to actually solve this. So let's do that. Alright, so my xy is in the bottom, so to solve I'm going to cross multiply. That's one way we solve ratios. That means you leave the equal sign in the middle. You take the bottom of one side times the top of the other. So xy times the sine of 24. And then the bottom of this side, 80, times the top here. Put the 80 in front, okay, so that we don't mix up what we're taking the sine of there. Again, I'm solving for xy, and right now it's multiplied by the sine of 24. So to solve that, I'm going to have to divide both sides by the sine of 24, because I have to divide here. That will get my xy by itself like I wanted, and then whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I get 80 times the sine of 34 divided by the sine of 24. And now all I need is a calculator, and I'll have my answer to that question. So with your calculator, start here, do your sine of 34. You want to go carefully. So 34 sine is 0.5591. Then multiply that by 80. So it's in my calculator here. I go times 80. And then divide by the sine of 24. So 24 sine, make sure this number right here is the sine of 24. So make sure then you push equals to find your answer. And I find that xy is equal to 109.98. And did it say what to round to? It did not. 109.98 is about 110. Okay, so for question 1, we set up the problem. Question 2, we solved it.